as I mentioned, I'm Tegan. I'm the Clubs and Societies Coordinator. Most of you already know who I am. We've probably met in some form or other. As I mentioned, we're going to cover a little bit off of USASA, what we do, what our goals are, our expectations for clubs, how we're going to support you, and dive into some of our processes as well. As I mentioned, feel free to jump in the chat and ask any questions at any time. I'll get Lauren to monitor those where I'm sharing screen because I can't actually see them at the moment. We will kick off with a little bit about who we are. So USASA, what is USASA? So USASA is a non-profit organisation. We're run by a board of elected student representatives. We're the student association for UniSA students. We provide a lot of services at UniSA, but the main reason that we're here today is that we provide support to non-sporting clubs. Why do we look after clubs? We think clubs are a pretty important part of the UniSA community. We think they're critical, in fact, and we think that clubs give students the opportunity to make their own university experience. It's really important for us to see students in leadership roles creating, I guess, what they want out of the university. So we want to do whatever we can to support that. Next slide. So every 3 years, we go through the process of developing a strategic plan specifically for USASA clubs. We actually finished this process just last year for the next 3 years. So we're currently in our 2021 to 2023 strategic plan. And in that process, we came up with our vision for the next 3 years, which is our vision is that clubs are at the heart of the student experience. And our mission is that we will strengthen, support and celebrate student-led clubs. So that's really, I guess, what we hope to achieve in working with you. So now, us, the clubs team. There is 2 of us. I'll start with myself and then I'll hand over to Lauren. Obviously, that one's me, in case you missed my face at the beginning of this presentation. So I guess my role is pretty broad and has changed a lot over time. In its present format, I'm responsible for managing our funding and training programs, communications, social media, website stuff relating to clubs. I also help deal with conflict management and complaints, and help direct our overall service strategy. Lauren, do you want to touch a little bit about on your roles and responsibilities?
Yep. So my name's Lauren. I'm the club's admin officer. As the title suggests, I do a lot of admin. So rule of thumb, if it's a piece of paper and you sign it, probably comes to me. I also manage a lot of the event bookings and equipment hire. So I'm the one that approves all of those things for you. I'm the one that chases you up for compliancy requirements and monitors them to make sure you're meeting them. Tegan gives you the money. I help you spend it by approving all your bank transactions. And also just with day-to-day inquiries and advice, I will be often the one that will respond to those ones. If they're lower level, obviously with the higher ones like complaints, they go straight to Tegan.
Absolutely. Excellent. So beyond our daily interaction with clubs, we're constantly working with the university, I guess, to develop and maintain the relationship that clubs have with the university. There's a lot of background work done to ensure that clubs are given the space to exist in this environment. We're always trying to, I guess, serve our greater purpose and seeking to ensure that clubs are given the resources they need to exist. So yeah, that's what we do. Contacting us. Lauren, do you want to jump in to that?
Yeah. So whilst you and I have different jobs and different responsibilities, we don't expect you to remember that. All you have to remember is a usasa.clubs@unisa.edu.au email address, because that is a shared inbox that both Tegan and I monitor. And you should always contact the club's inbox. We recommend doing that because regardless of who's working, there will always be someone checking this inbox. And we often check this inbox before we check our own personal emails. Like emailing this inbox also helps us to manage our workload. It ensures that the relevant tasks are delegated to the correct person. And it's worth noting, though, that this email is only monitored during work hours, which are Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. And sometimes due to high workload, it can take a few days and even up to a week for one of us to get back to you. If you have an urgent question during these times, or when the office is closed, because we do close for 2 weeks over Christmas, you can always post it in the USASA Club's executive Facebook group. I'm not sure if anyone here is a member of that group, but we definitely recommend joining it. So you can post your questions in there, and one of your fellow executives may be able to help you, or Tegan and I might even see it when we're scrolling through Facebook on the weekend or on a time, be able to help you if it's an emergency. All right, now touch on compliancy, which is a big beast, and I'm probably at least all of you probably have received at least one email from me chasing up a compliancy requirement. Does anyone here, can anyone name a requirement that USASA has for clubs? Feel free to type it in the chat if you don't feel like speaking out.
Within 2 months of the inception, you need to have minimum of 10 current UniSA students, and that should be about 2/3 of the number of members.
Perfect. Yes, that is 2 of them. We've got a 2 for 1 there. So just adding a bit more information. So we do request that you have 2 UniSA students, 10 registered on the USASA website. These memberships do expire on the 31st of January each year. So keep an eye out towards the end of the year when we create your new membership groups, because then you can start promoting them. And with the 2/3 majority members being UniSA students, you don't need to worry about that one. That's something that Tegan and myself monitor. So if you get an email from us saying that you need to promote to more UniSA members, that's when you should be alarmed. But if you haven't heard from us, just assume that you're meeting that compliancy requirement. We've got one written from Barry saying, have access to the bank account. Yes, that is entirely correct. For that one, to get access to the bank account, you just have to meet with the USASA finance officer. And you can do that by making an appointment via the website. So we've got that one. We've got another one. There's a meeting that must be held before the 30th of April each year. Does anyone know what that one's called?
Yep, the AGM, and submit the list of new executives, because we've been through that. Yeah,
perfect.
There's some issues with that, so it's sorted. Thank you.
That is perfect. We do require you to have an AGM between January and April each year. This includes an annual election to fill the minimum roles of president, treasurer, and secretary. And this is something that you will need to do yearly. And after you've had this meeting, you just need to submit the minutes along with an updated committee contact list to USASA. All right, so we've got another form that's generally, we promote this one in January that clubs need to do. But this is an annual form that needs to be completed, sorry. Insurance, there it is. Yes, that is the thing. That's one of the most crucial ones that we want, especially at the beginning of the year before you do any on-campus events or off-campus events, just to make sure that you are covered in case something happens. Got the insurance, and there's one final one, which this one is a document that establishes what your clubs does, its purpose, the name. Anyone familiar? This one? I believe every club here has one already, and that is the rules of governance. So basically every club has one of these, and you only have to resubmit it if you decide to change the name of the club, the purpose of the club, or add any positions to your club executive committee. So yeah, they are the compliance requirements that we have for our clubs. They may seem like a lot, but we've tried to make them as easy as possible. And as always, you can always contact us if you have any questions or need any help completing them. So compliancy is important for several reasons. These requirements are necessary to help keep students safe and the resources of clubs safe, especially with the insurance form. If you have any equipment, make sure you register on the asset register so it's covered by your insurance. Otherwise, we can't help you if it goes missing. These requirements also help us to do our jobs. We need to know who we should be working with and how to contact those people. That's especially relevant for the committee contact list. I've lost track how many times I've been trying to chase something up and contacting the old executive instead of the new one. And I don't think I'm their favorite person. We also have a limited number of resources, and compliance helps us determine how to distribute the resources we have, which includes funding, spaces at our events, and also our time. And finally, the requirements set a minimum standard for how clubs behave for members, the university and for USASA. So we'd like to know that at least if you're meeting our requirements, you're probably getting back to your members. Yeah, now I'll hand it over to Tegan to talk about what you get once you've met all of them.
Absolutely. So I've ended the sharing on purpose there, so we can have a bit of a more broad conversation about how we support you. So there's a lot of ways that we support clubs. So I would love it if I could open to the floor and people could name a few of the ways that they know that we provide support to clubs. So either jump in now or feel free to enter it in the chat and we can explore some of those ways that we provide support to clubs. Anyone at all, feel free.
Can I ask a doubt before that?
Absolutely.
Since our club is new and we'll have our first AGM, do we have to hold elections for all posts, or do we fill in some posts ourselves, and whatever is open, do we have nominations for that?
They will all need to be elected into the position. Most times the way it happens is the person who established the club becomes president, and so generally the people who want to take the roles get the roles, but you do need to make it a formalised election.
So we need to have an opening for all positions regardless?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Absolutely. It's really important that democracy is the foundation of clubs. So, yeah, definitely running an election for all of those key roles and any additional roles that you add to the committee. So we've got a mention in the chat now. Barry said money, and you're totally right. Absolutely. Money is one of our favourite ways to support clubs. So we run a couple of different grant programs at USASA. So one of those is our USASA Club Grant Program. Our grant program offers up to $3,500 throughout the year to clubs to access through an application-based system. So your clubs can apply for up to $2,500 in a single application towards an event, an activity, a purchase, marketing resources as well. So pretty much any... I'm sorry, you can hear my dog quite loudly in the background crying because she's been shut out of the room. But I'll have to invite her in a minute. You can have a look at her because she's adorable. But yes, back to money. Tiered funding is our second funding program. So tiered funding is assessed based on the number of members that you have and compliance to the requirements that Lauren mentioned beforehand. So once a club is meeting all of those requirements, we'll automatically assess clubs throughout the year, 3 times a year, once in March, once in June, and once in September to check that they're meeting those requirements on an ongoing basis and give out money based on that. And honestly, it's my 3 favourite days of the year. It's so much fun to give clubs money, and I know most of you and all of you can spend that on making great things happen for your members. So absolutely. Such a good thing for clubs to be able to utilise money without having to apply in the same way that you do for the grant program. Barry has also mentioned help with problems. So yeah, occasionally problems happen. It sucks, but it's the way of the world. And we will be able to guide you through most problems that occur in clubs. And if we can't, we can find the right person to help you do that. Obviously, working with people is not always easy, but we hope to make that as easy as possible within the club structure. And we also hope that we can give you support to find the right resources if you need them. Amy has mentioned approval for events on campus, and Barry's also mentioned wanting to have events on campus. Yeah, absolutely. So events is a massive part of what clubs do for students. So in any given year, clubs will run between 700 and 1,000 events at UniSA, which is absolutely massive. Clubs are the biggest provider of student events at UniSA, and in fact, at most universities, I would say that the same is true. And absolutely. Running events, we can provide you with support. We have our events toolkit. We provide free equipment hire in most cases. Space booking for most events is free on campus. We can help with that. And event management support if you're new to the event space or doing something that you're a bit unfamiliar with. We have our events team who are more than happy to meet with you to talk about larger scale events and I guess give some guidance based on the huge amount of experience that they have. Can anyone else list any other ways that we support clubs at USASA? Amy has asked if we're going to have an event toolkit workshop soon like today's. Yes, we're very hopeful that that is the case. We're working with the facilitator for our events workshop. So hopefully in the next week or so, Cherie will be able to come onto Zoom and do a workshop specifically about events. And it'll definitely delve into using the tools in the events toolkit. Any other ways that we support clubs that anyone could think of? In that case, I will jump in with a few of my own. I have a list prepared. So promotional support. So we provide clubs with invitations to participate in events such as Campus Fair and Clubs Fest. So they're big fair days that take place each semester. Given the current COVID climate in SA, we're a bit nervous about Clubs Fest taking place, but we will be reviewing and hopefully going ahead with that event based on a decision that will be made next week. We also more and more are trying to have these events online where possible because, obviously the world is changing. Our online campus at UniSA is now the third largest campus at UniSA. So definitely more and more trying to cater to students regardless of where they are, which is really exciting and a new area of work for us. So we're really enjoying sort of being able to play that role a little bit more. In addition to that, we also provide poster design for those people who, like me, who are incompetent on Photoshop. We also provide logo design for clubs that are looking for a little bit of a rebrand. Our marketing team love to help clubs come up with their new poster designs and logos, so that's definitely a resource that's available. Barry has also just mentioned in the chats poster printing. So yes, absolutely. We can print up to 40 posters per print run and 80 flyers in a print run for any single activity that's taking place or just for general promotion as well, which is fantastic. We also provide social media posts about upcoming events and activities. We'll promote as many events as we can, and occasionally Verse magazine will write articles about clubs, which is really fantastic. And we also offer Canva Premium access, which as mentioned, I am useless at Photoshop, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one. Canva Premium is a design template website that will help you create imagery and collateral for like pretty much any platform, such as posters, Facebook, Instagram stories, all of that kind of stuff. Janya has just said Alexandra is a Canva genius. That's fantastic. Canva is really nice to use, and it's good to hear you've got a genius on your squad. That's awesome. Amy has just asked what the design program I just mentioned. It's a website called Canva, so canva.com. If you go to the USASA website, and I'll show you this link later, you can grab login details for a premium account, and it can help you make some design. I'm actually designing my wedding invitation on Canva at the moment, so there you go. We already went through funding. Simrit needs to leave, go for emergency. I hope everything's okay, Sim. No worries. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope everything's going to be okay. Website. So we provide the USASA website for clubs. It includes a membership database, as Lauren mentioned, track memberships every year. It includes the e-store, so you can sell merchandise or tickets and so on and so forth online. We also have the events calendar, which is visited by a lot of students, so really useful to be adding your events there. Training, obviously. We're meant to be doing a conference today. Obviously, that didn't happen, so we've adapted to the climate and we're here online. So hopefully you guys will find this workshop and the other workshops we'll be offering useful. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can do a conference again next year on campus at City West. Induction meeting. So quite a few faces that we've met in here have had an induction meeting with us, which is really fantastic. It's a great way for you guys to meet us and us to meet you and to learn about how we support clubs at USASA. There's also a series of website tutorials that I made last time we were in lockdown, probably about this time last year, actually, in case you really like listening to my voice or need help on the website. Those are available for you as well. As Lauren mentioned earlier, there's an insurance form that you have to do every year. Obviously, that provides you with insurance. So that's volunteer accident and public indemnity insurance. Fingers crossed I got those big words right. We provide you with a generic email account, record management. We also have advice and mentoring from myself and Lauren, who's directly to my left on my screen. So hopefully I'm pointing in the right direction. Additionally, we have a monthly newsletter that we write that will just keep you up to date with the latest, whatever's happening with clubs at the time. So yeah, that can be super useful for keeping track of what's happening. I'm going to zip back to the screen sharing now. And we can, hopefully you are seeing that now again properly. Give us a thumbs up. Awesome. That's fantastic. So stressful not being able to see exactly what you see. So yeah, event support, training, promotional support, and there's a whole nother page, funding, website, other. I didn't actually go through our awards program. So Lauren and I are currently very excited because it's award season. We're currently taking nominations for the 2021 USASA Club Awards, including new Club of the Year, Club Event of the Year, lots of awards on offer. So I really recommend checking that out and hopefully coming along to our awards night or streaming it from home if you can't be there in person. Which hopefully will be out of lockdown by October 15th, because that would be really sad for us. I'll just jump back to Lauren now, who's going to go through some of the eventy stuff.
Yeah, speaking of lockdown. I was madly retyping some of this morning. So I'll start with the event booking process. I don't know if anyone here is that familiar with the process. I don't believe. I think we've got a lot of new clubs who probably haven't delved into this quite as yet. So I'm just going to recap and go over everything for you. Long story short, all in-person club events, whether they're held on or off campus, need to be submitted via the USASA online club event booking form, and the URL is written on the screen. But you can also find that by the website, and Tegan will explain how to do that. You may see digital forms on the UniSA website. These are not relevant to you. If you complete one of these, FM will just direct you back to us. The USASA form that we have is kept up to date with the latest COVID requirements and will step you through what you need to submit in order to get your event approved. That's quite important, especially at the moment. You will need to submit this form 7 days before you want your booking confirmed. We recommend that you work backwards from the event day. So if your event is on the 27th of July and you want to launch promotions 10 days before on the 17th, you'll need to submit your booking form on the 10th in order to get approval by the 17th. Otherwise, you risk promoting details that are incorrect for your event and then having to suddenly change them, put out additional communications to be like, oh, we told you it was in this room, it's now in this room, or it's this time, it's now this time. Obviously, due to COVID, there's a few extra requirements if you're having external guests, food and drinks, or holding your event off campus. For these events, we recommend submitting your booking 14 days before you want your booking confirmed. All right, let's go to the next slide, please. Beautiful. As you are no doubt aware, the COVID restrictions can and do change quite quickly, as we've certainly learned over the past couple of days. We list all the current restrictions on our frequently asked questions page on the website, so it's worth checking out there when you're planning an event. The requirements I'm about to talk through are the restrictions that we have previously had in place when there wasn't a lockdown. So this information isn't applicable to events at this very moment, because currently all club events are on hold. We're not approving any more events until the lockdown is listed, and any club holding an event in the next 7 days, we've asked them to postpone, adapt or cancel their event. So I'll start off by talking about the COVID Safe Plan and COVID Marshal. You will need these for all events with externals, food and drinks, and off-campus events not held at a venue with its own COVID Safe Plan. If you're having an off-campus event at a venue, for example, a ball, you don't need to complete a COVID Safe Plan or have a COVID Marshal at the event. This is provided by the venue. You'll just need to send through a copy of their COVID Safe Plan, or at the very least, a photo of their QR code so we know that they have one. To complete your COVID Marshal training, you just need to complete a short online course, and there's a link to this on the online booking form. Once you've done this training, you'll get a certificate which you'll submit with your event booking form, and we'll laminate your certificate and make you a lanyard which can be collected from the USASA student space of your choosing. After you have submitted this booking form, I will email you with the link to book a meeting to complete a COVID Safe Plan for your event. This process may sound scary, but I promise you it's not. All you have to do is type your name, tick a couple of boxes, and sign the plan. After this, you will have a COVID Safe Plan that you can be used for any event you decide to hold in that venue. Next up, we'll talk about the FM156 form. This is a form that we've always had. It's nothing new, definitely not because of COVID. This form is basically just required if you're bringing external guests onto campus. And to clarify, an external guest is anyone not a current UniSA student or staff member. And finally, we have the food safety certificate. If you're serving food, you will need to complete the online food safety training course offered for free on our website. This is also linked in the online form. If you have the equivalent training from a different provider, for example, if you work in food handling and have received training through your work, we will also accept these. We don't expect you to double up on the training. Only executives who have completed this training will be allowed to serve the food. To ensure that the food is saved to the safest way possible, there are some restrictions on what food and drinks can be provided. Keep in mind, at the moment, you can't do food or drinks. But before, these were the restrictions we had for food and drinks. So clubs can only serve food if it's individually pre-packaged serves, such as muesli bars, fruit with an edible skin, cans of drink, and so on. You can also have food at your event if the food is prepared and served by an external venue. For example, having catering at your ball. Like, we don't expect that to be individually wrapped steaks or anything. That's basically the only people who can touch the consumable part of the food are the staff from the company who made the food and the person eating it. So in a nutshell, those are the requirements we have previously had in place. But once again, restrictions change regularly and we have no idea what the future will hold. So we recommend checking the frequently asked page when planning your event to see the current requirements. I'll now hand it over to Tegan, who will show you around the website, including where to find the frequently asked questions page.
Thank you, Lauren. So yeah, we're going to delve into a little bit about how to use the USASA website. So I'm going to exit our little slideshow here and go online. Hopefully you can see what I'm seeing. Can you see the USASA website on your screen now? Oh, yay, thumbs up. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's a little hard to know. Yeah, everything's working. So again, in my background, the dog has stopped whining, but she's having a snack now. So please ignore snack chewing sounds. Okay, so obviously the USASA website, we're on here now. You can see that I'm already logged into the website. And we're just on the main homepage. You can see lots of our upcoming activities being promoted here, and you can see there's a couple of ways to get to information about clubs. So we've got the clubs menu here and the clubs button here. We're going to head to the Club e-store first. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. So as mentioned before, you can sell things on the USASA website. So you can see here that the Nursing Club is running a City to Bay Fun Run team, MedRad running a ball, there's a Winter Wonderland ball, there's a speech pathology ball, there are so many balls, club memberships, pins, so on and so forth. So that's a cute jumper. Speech pathology have a really great jumper at the moment, just in case you're interested. So yeah, you can sell things on our website. It's all fee free, unlike things like Eventbrite or Shopify or things like that. So it can be a really handy way to help you draw an income if you're interested in doing so. Next, we have the club events page. So as mentioned before, you can add your events to the USASA website, and once they are added to the website, we'll help you promote them. So our marketing and clubs teams will go through this webpage quite regularly and pull out all the information so that we can promote events for you. I'll show you in a little while how to add events to this page. Next, we'll go up to Run a Club. So as an executive, this is where most of the relevant information for you will be found. So a couple of you will be familiar with this starting a club webpage. Obviously, super relevant to if you're wanting to start a brand new club. So we're always interested in supporting new clubs at UniSA, and if you know of someone who's interested in starting a club at UniSA that doesn't already exist, feel free to direct them there. Otherwise, the other portals will be the most relevant to you. So as mentioned, running events is a massive part of what clubs do, and we have a whole page full of information about it. As mentioned, COVID information can be found here. That all important online booking forms so that you can register your on and off campus events with us for insurance purposes, super important. So I'd recommend finding that one and bookmarking it for all your club booking needs. As mentioned before, we hire out equipment. We have our event planning toolkits, information about food safety and the training that Lauren mentioned before, information about alcohol, pub crawls, and so on and so forth, additional promo items. I know we had a question from one of our clubs in the registration about personalised merchandise. You can order that through the company that USASA most work with. They're called Scooter. They're really handy to work with. They work with clubs a lot, so you can find a little bit of information about them there and the kinds of items that you can buy through them or get personalized through the website there. Obviously, not everyone does pub crawls, not everyone does balls. Some people do purely online events, such as our chat box team, and that's perfectly great too. Obviously, if it's an online event and people aren't meeting together, you don't need to do an event booking form. Still recommend promoting it though. So next we'll go to back to our running a club page and promote a club. So I think it was Amy asked about Canva before, and you can find the login details for our Canva account on this page. So yeah, worth writing those ones down when you get a sec. As mentioned, poster printing, logo design, all of your club promotional needs can be found here. If we go back, we can go to our club finances and grants page. This is where the money is. So we have information about our online banking processes, how to access your account, information about creating transactions, making money, using the e-store, depositing money into your bank account, and of course grants as well. So you can find all of that information here. Again, worth having a browse and seeing some of the ideas that are available to you there. I'm going to skip this one for now because it's kind of our holy grail, so I want to save that one for last. But we'll skip to club website help. So as I mentioned before, I spent a lot of time last year while we were in lockdown by myself making all of these training videos about how to use the website. So just so that my efforts weren't in vain, if you could watch one of those at some point while you're an executive, that would make me feel really good. But there is a lot of useful information in here. Obviously, we can't go into heaps of detail today because we have limited time, but definitely worth checking these out. So how to add events to the website, how to add news, how to edit your club page, sending communications, so emails out to your members. There's forms for, there's a little video on how to do almost everything on our website. And if there's something missing that we don't have covered there, please email us and I will make another one, because why not? We're in lockdown again. I have the time again. FAQ, as Lauren mentioned, we're keeping this up to date as possible with all of the COVID stuff at the moment. There are a few other bits and pieces of information in there. And if you have a question that you feel should be covered in this section, let us know. Again, we're happy to update it and keep it relevant to you. So yeah, let us know. Awards program. So yeah, as Lauren and I have both mentioned, awards is our baby. It's really fun for us to celebrate all of the hard work that clubs do. And as mentioned in our strategic plan, celebrating and recognizing clubs' work is super important to us, and we want to make sure that the work that you do doesn't go unnoticed. So that's part of what makes our awards program so fun for us. So nominations are being accepted now, so you can find out the prize pools of up to $1,000 for some of these awards, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, definitely worth having a look through here and making some nominations when you have a chance. Yeah, it's going to be a really fun awards night this year that we're going to be live streaming for the first time, which I know, Barry, you're going to be so stoked about. Additionally, and finally, we have our forms and website, forms and templates, if I can say the words right, page here. So on this page, we've accumulated all of our documents, all of our web forms, and all of our booking forms, submission forms, all into one page. If you bookmark just one page from our website, I recommend bookmarking this one, as you can find pretty much everything you need here. So yeah, that event booking form, insurance forms, asset register, just job descriptions. If you're feeling a bit unsure about what your role actually is, there's information there. Hoping to offer some training about that at some point as well, but there's some guides here as well, meeting guides for those of you who are looking to run your AGM soon, minute templates, and so on and so forth. So yeah, usasa.sa.edu.au/club forms. Yeah, 10 out of 10 recommend bookmarking that one to your desktop. So next, I'm going to go into the back end of the website. So we're going to go to Find a Club. And I'm going to, since we're here with Chatbox, I'm going to use them as an example. So if we're going to view details, and this is pretty much the same for every club, you're going to, and you'll click administration and then settings, and that will take you into the dashboard. Chatbox is one of our newest clubs, and it's so impressive to see that they have 37 members already. So fantastic work, ladies. So you can see here there's a dashboard of things that have happened recently, information about pending memberships and current memberships. So we can see that there are no pending memberships, but to go ahead and approve a new member, we'd go to groups and then list, and then click into the membership group, and we would find any unapproved members with a box here that says approve. So we just go ahead and hit those. So USASA has a policy of being inclusive to all students. So as long as someone is a USASA student, there shouldn't be any reason why they wouldn't be allowed to be a member of your club. If you have questions about that, we'd be more than happy to answer them and provide you with some guidance if needed. So a couple of other things that we can do while we're in this membership group is go to main, and you can see here that you can technically edit where it says expiry date and time. Please don't do this, because we will just change it back. It's important that our club memberships expire on the 31st of January every year. And if we notice that your group hasn't expired on the 31st of January, we'll just go in and change it, because a lot of our programs and funding is based around memberships expiring on that date. So very important to us that remains the same. Additionally, you have the option here of automatically approving new members. This can be really handy if you don't like to go in and check it all the time, and that's perfectly fine. Just switch on automatic approvals so that your members aren't sort of sitting around waiting waiting to hear from you and not really getting anything back. If you're going to do that, we would 10 out of 10 recommending this function here that says completion email. So you have the power to enter an email in here to let students know what's going on with the club. You can keep them up to date with the latest information as they join. I've probably mentioned this more times than I can count now, but one of the biggest complaints that we receive about clubs is that that a student requested to join a club and they never heard back from them. So it's important that if people are joining your club, that you give them the opportunity to hear from you, to know that they're a member, because unless you send some sort of email to them, they're not going to know that they were approved. So we 10 out of 10 recommend using this completion email to let people know when they've joined the club. Once you've set this up, it'll automatically send them an email once they've been approved, whether that's manually or automatically. So super handy. As mentioned before, events. If your event is on the website, we will automatically start promoting it. The way to add your events website is to go to this events menu item and click new and enter the details. You can just simply click through and enter the information as relevant to your event, and we'll grab it and promote it for you. People like to know what you're doing, obviously, so keeping them up to date with that is really, really helpful. Similarly, you can use news to keep people up to date with the latest with what's happening with your club. There are a couple of other tools here. Pages, you can add additional pages to your web page with more information. For instance, our ballet club has information about additional classes that people can find around Adelaide. You can add those items to your menu. The menu sort of is what appears here. So this is your menu. So you can see the lovely Chatbox team have added their Discord server to their menu, which is awesome. Communication here, you can use the communication function to send emails to your new members. So click new, again, follow the links, follow the instructions. eStore, obviously, that's where you want to add your products if you're looking to sell them online. You can also sell memberships to your club if you're interested in doing so. That can be a really great way of generating income if you're interested. Reports here, there are membership reports. I don't find this function super useful, but if you're a data nerd like I am, you might just like to go and look at the graph sometimes. I know I do. I spend a lot of time on Excel, you can probably tell. Probably one of the most useful things is settings and then club details, where you can update the information that appears on your front page. You can see here the Chatbox team have done such a lovely job of making this look really nice, updating it with the latest information, and 10 out of 10 recommend taking a leaf out of their book and doing that as well. There's a couple of other things here that you can see right now because I'm logged in that you wouldn't normally be able to see. So communication, I'll just say that's just a tick box that allows you to send SMS, except it doesn't actually work. There's no functional way to send SMSs through our website. So yeah, unfortunately, don't get too hung up on that one. Market day is not a thing that UniSA does. But yeah, there are a few bits and pieces there that are more relevant on our side of things. So that's our website. Is there anyone that has any questions about how to use the website that I can delve into in a little bit more detail? Oh, hello, Lilo. Right now, I'd be happy to show you if you're interested. Obviously, using the website is pretty important way to manage your members and so on and so forth. So happy to answer any questions if you have any. Well, that silence is deafening, so I guess we'll move on. All right, we'll stop sharing the screen and you can look at our faces again. Well, thank you so much for coming to our presentation today. Obviously, it's not what we anticipated doing. We thought we'd be eating cake made by Food Law right now. So you win some and you lose some, but we're really glad you all decided to come. I guess in summary, we're here to support you. It's our jobs. Lauren and I love working with clubs. It's honestly one of the nicest places I've ever worked. I don't, feel really lucky to get to work with such a diverse range of students all the time, people who are passionate about different things and that serve students in such a fun way. And I guess you guys get the added benefit of learning lots of new skills. And yeah, it's really kind of a joy for us. So it doesn't feel like I have to work too hard to, it's just like a hobby, really. We provide a ton of services and support, but we're always looking for ways to improve that. So if you have an idea that we haven't covered off in today and you think that there's a gap in what we do, please let us know and we'll see if we can make something happen. The website has everything. So if you have a question, definitely jump on there and see if you can find what you're looking for. Additionally, 10 out of 10 recommend that you join our USASA Club Facebook group. If you are on social media, not everyone, you don't have to be, but it is a really great way of keeping in touch with each other and with us as well. So yeah, recommend jumping in there. Lauren, do you have any final comments?
I'm just going to address some of the questions we received.
Oh, awesome. I couldn't see these while I was screen sharing, so.
Yeah. No, we just received some questions. You would have noticed in the submission form, there was stuff you want me, if you want stuff touched on. So we received questions through that form. I'm just going to quickly answer some of them for you because they weren't really included in the initial session. So firstly, we received a question about how to build online engagement. For this one, I'd recommend, if you have the time, signing up for the marketing workshop that's going to be held tomorrow. As the USASA marketing team have a greater insight in this area. If you're not available at the time of the workshop, we'll also be recording that session similar to today, and so you can watch it at a later date. We'd also recommend utilising the UniSA online student groups to promote your club and completing the USASA club feature form, which will then be posted to USASA social media pages for some additional promotion. Once you have some members, you can look into holding some online events. Some popular ones we have seen are Kahoots quiz nights and Jackbox games night. They seem to get a good attendance and most clubs go back to them. We also have a few clubs similar to Chatbox who created Discord servers as a way to socialise online. So that's one of the questions. Secondly, we had a question about getting assistance in making personalised merch. Tegan touched on briefly on that. Basically, if you need design assistance, the best way is to, once again, ask the USASA marketing team. They are the whizzes at this, and depending on their workload at the time, they may be able to help you design the merchandise. If not, you can potentially adapt Canva to use that if you're looking for only a simple design. If you're looking for supplier, as Tegan mentioned, Scooter is the one that's we use for all of our USASA merch, and we would really recommend them. As Tegan showed, you can find a link to their page on the Promote Your Club website. And the final question received was about booking a space on campus for the whole day. This can easily be done. You just need to complete the online event booking form once you've confirmed what rooms you'd like to use. Similarly, if you want to book a room for multiple dates, for example, if you have a weekly meeting, you can simply include multiple dates on the same booking form. Obviously, you can't book every room every Monday for the next 5 years. I don't think FM will be a big fan of that. So we recommend capping at maybe 10 weeks in advance, because then that's sort of a semester and it allows them to use their room for teaching if they have to, and because we do come second to teaching at the university. So they're all the questions we had submitted prior to this session. Over the session, has anyone thought of any other questions I'd like answered? Or
there's a few other questions in the chat that I've just come across that I don't think I addressed. So the Canva account, yes, it's shared for all the clubs, so anyone can log in there and use it. Obviously, we ask that you be respectful of other people's work. Don't delete anything that's not yours, because that's not cool. We like cool people who don't delete things. There's a question about a format to send AGMs. So yeah, there's an agenda template on our website. If you go to that forms and templates website, you can find that there. And there's also a submission form that you can use so that you don't have to email us. You can just send it straight to us via that. Barry, woohoo, a yes online. Yeah, we're excited too. We're absolutely stoked that we can offer the awards night online. Amy has asked if the session will be recorded. This session has been recorded, so we will be sharing it with it if you'd like to replay it. I know that I can talk quite fast, so apologies for that. I just get really excited. Lauren has answered one of those questions. Just going through. Someone says, thank you for all the promotion. You're welcome. Alistair, you've asked when the club email will be made available. Hopefully soon. Things have been a little bit slow at UniSA and the internet-y side of things because of that hack that happened a few weeks ago. Things are still like crawling along at a pace that is really frustrating for us, and so we can feel your pain on that one, but you'll know as soon as we do.
It came through during the session.
Oh my God, did it? That's awesome. So you get an email today, this afternoon or tomorrow morning.
Yes, you'll have an email.
That's so good. Great work. I hope you are paid well. Thanks, Barry. We do too. Non-profit. So you know, mixed response on that one. Can we register for the marketing workshop? So if you go to the USASA website, you'll find the Club Executive Training Conference on the main screen. You can just click through the links and find the registration form for that marketing workshop. It'll be delivered by Jackson and Rachel, our marketing team, who will be the people that help you with logos and posters and all those bits and pieces. They're really skilled professionals with both with education in marketing and graphic design. And they are honestly just incredible people to work with for you and for us. They work really hard to help, you know, make our website and our social media and everything great. So they have a lot of really useful advice for working with students. So
it's on Facebook? Excuse me?
It is on Facebook. You can find the information on Facebook. There's a separate Facebook event, and there's also information just on the USASA website as well. Can the cake be posted?
I was just wondering.
Oh, sorry.
How it can be registered that, sorry. I'm just asking for the registration ways.
For the registration.
I can register for the marketing.
I'll post a link to the registration form for you in the chat.
Yes, please.
Barry has asked if we can post out the cake. Unfortunately, we had to cancel our cake order because of the lockdown. And I believe that Food Law wasn't open because of it either today. So disappointing. Hopefully, I know, devastating. We wanted that cake. But hopefully they managed to donate any of the food that we couldn't use today. So I've just linked that registration form there, Amy. So unfortunately, no cake in the post.
Can we see your dog?
Oh yes, she's just chewing on her bed at the moment. Hang on. Here we go. Whoop.
I'll just jump in and answer a request from Ash about holding 2 AGMs in. So with this situation, you do have to have one before the 30th of April. That's part of the rules of governance. Unfortunately, that one cannot be changed. But what you could do in your situation is in that AGM, have the same people get re-elected. Obviously, if someone else wants to come for a position, they can still do that. And other people may want to vacate, and they're welcome to do that as well. And so electing them, and then after you've had your event in August, then everyone can resign and you can hold an SGM to elect the new people.
Right. Yep. Noted.
Once again, the SGM, they will only be doing that term until April 30th and will have to get re-elected.
Yeah, that makes sense. But at least they can still, we can still give them the stuff. We can still start planning again.
Yeah, definitely.
One last thing though. So our vice president stepped down, so we need to officially take her out of the team pretty much. So should I just email it to you?
Yeah, if you have a resignation from them, then yes, you can email that through to us. If not, they can just email us directly as well.
She's still in the club, but it's just too much commitment, so she just became a committee member.
Yeah, that's fair enough. With a lot of respect for recognizing their boundaries.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's better to put up a boundary, then keep doing something and not really putting in all the effort that the job requires. So someone has asked, this is Lilu. She's a white-haired dachshund, the love of my life. We got her, she's just a year old now, so still kind of a puppy. She is long of torso and short of leg in the sausage dog way, and she's still recovering from being desexed there. So she's got a little patch of fur missing. She's a very good girl though. I've taught her to shake in the last couple of weeks, so she will aggressively shake your hand if required. Any other questions that we can answer while we're still here for you today?
Hey Tegan, I just wanted to ask, since we're a new club and we're gonna hold an AGM next week, and you said we have to open all the positions, I'm a bit confused on how to hold the elections, because you said that the people who started the club naturally will be part of the executive club, right?
Generally speaking.
Yeah,
so
generally speaking.
obviously it's always a risk
Yeah.
that someone else will put their hand up and then be elected. Unfortunately, that's kind of sort of,
Yeah, I know.
to be honest, it's never really happened that someone who started the club didn't then get elected, but you still have to open it up to everyone, even though it was your great idea to start it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you automatically get to be the president, for instance.
Yeah, I know, but like, so in the AGM itself, then we would have to hold like,
Yep.
so we have to be voting in the,
Yeah,
sorry.
So because you're an online club, Stacey says she has to go. So bye, Stacey. We'll post
bye,
a recording and send out an email to you all. But thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it. Back to your question, Alexandra. So essentially the process of running an election generally starts with the person who's running the election, usually a returning officer, opening the floor to nominations for the particular role that's up for grabs. So usually you'd start with the role of president, for instance. So for instance, if I was doing it, I would say I'll now open the nominations for the position of president. Members would then have the opportunity to put their hand up and say, I would like to nominate for the position of president, and you would take all the nominations that you of people that are interested in that job. Then you would say, okay, now we'll close the nominations for the position of president, and if only one person nominated for that position, they are elected unopposed automatically. You don't need to have a vote. In a lot of cases, for a new club, that'll be what happens. If more than one person put their hand up for that role, you would then, it would go to a secret ballot. So obviously in an online context, that can be quite hard to run. I would recommend that you invite Lauren or I to your meeting so that we can help you run this so that it can be secret. And you would set the person, for instance, as a co-host of the meeting so that people could send them a private message with their vote. So that, say, for instance, if we're in that meeting right now, Barry and Ash and Janya and Amy could all send me a message saying, I vote for Alexandra to be president, or I vote for the other person who's nominated for president, and then I would count those votes and report back and say, majority of votes have come through for Alexandra to be president, so Alexandra has become president. Congratulations in our theoretical hypothetical election scenario. And then you would do the same thing for the roles of treasurer and then secretary, and any additional roles that you've added to your rules of governance as well. So it can be a little bit more tricky to run that election online, but we're more than happy to help you with that. We can act as your returning officer. Obviously, it's helpful for us if you put the meeting between 9 and 5 on a Monday to Friday when we're working, but we try to be as flexible as we can in most scenarios.
All right,
So
thank you so much.
We will be sending you an email to invite you both to our AGM, and
Absolutely.
so we do not need to send out.
You've just frozen a little bit towards the end of that question. Would you mind repeating?
We do not need to send out.
We cut off exactly the same time this time. I don't know what's going on. Maybe try again or try typing the question in the chat. I'm so sorry that you somehow managed to cut off at exactly the same point both times. Is your connection there okay, Janya? Can you hear us okay?
So close, so close.
She just dropped out.
Guessing trying.
I think what she was trying to ask was, we don't have to send you the exact email, like the club email, or do we have to send you like a specific another email that we just invite you?
You don't have to send the specific email that you send to all your members. You can just send us a notification saying, hi, Tegan and Lauren, we're having a meeting at this date and this time. Here's the Zoom link. That's totally fine.
All right.
Like your own members, though, you are required to give us 5 days notice so that we can. This must be the time, post time.
She also texted me. She said, sorry, let me check. She said, do we need to set up forms for the nominations, or does it happen during the AGM, like the nominating?
People would nominate in person at the AGM.
So we were planning on like making forms, so we would get the nominations beforehand, and then during the AGM we would show nominations to other people, or does that not?
You can do that, but as long as people still have the option of nominating at the time of the meeting. For instance, the rules don't allow you to be like, oh, you have to nominate between this time and this time prior to the meeting. So as long as people can nominate at the same time as the meeting, that's fine too.
All right. Thank you, Tegan.
Not a problem. Any other questions? Silence is golden. I'm going to take that as a no. Well, thank you so much all for coming today. I really appreciate it, especially at last minute notice. Is less than 24 hours notice that we managed to pull this together and have such a great group of people coming together. So really appreciate you making the time to join us today. We'll send a follow-up email with a digital copy of this meeting, or at least a link on where to find it on the website. So hopefully that you can half the speed of my voice in the parts that I talk really fast and get most information possible. As always, you can contact us anytime, usasa.clubs@unisa.edu.au. Any last words, Lauren?
Thanks for coming.
Excellent.
Really good. Nice to see faces.
Excellent. It's definitely lovely to see some people from home. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. We'll end the meeting there and see you soon, hopefully. Bye, everyone.